Welcome to another Founder Wisdom Pod. We have Arnab Ray with us today. Arnab is the CEO and founder of multiple businesses. The first one being BPlan Experts, also CEO and founder of Array Consultancy Services and Array Innovative Services. Today, we're going to talk about startups, growth strategy, entrepreneurship, everything between. This pod is brought to you by podpire.com. If you want to start your own podcast and scale it, monetize it, you can go to podpire.com. Arnab, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and about what you're up to nowadays.
Thanks a lot, Charles. Thanks a lot for the introduction. So as you already given the introduction, Array Innovative Services is the mother company which we are focusing on bringing on innovative services and solutions to niche spaces. BPlan Experts is one of our earlier ventures, and we have helped around more than 2,000 startups across 80 countries. As a logical flow, we also floated Presentation GFX, which is primarily the visual communication. As of now, we are heavily into AI-based products. So we are right now pivoting to products. So some of the exciting products that we are launching is Express AI, an automated way of making presentations. We are relaunching Expressio, which is another platform for presentations. And also we are working on something on the new version of Crazy About Startups, the community for startups. So a lot of exciting things are happening out here.
Why did you get into the startup world? When was that in your career?
Well, I think I was 27 years old. I had worked with few of the largest of the names in the brand, and let's be honest, I was always wanted to do something more with my talent, time, and intellect. And so always had that entrepreneurial bug, really, like always wanted to do something on my own. But having the relevant experience from the industry, like it was easier for me to look into the different aspects of business. We started with consulting and gradually moved towards products. So it was a very logical flow for us. At that point of time, we really didn't know much about entrepreneurship because that was not the in thing as it is now. So there was a lot of resources or podcasts like yours helping entrepreneurs. These resources were not there. So we learned on our way, really. We did a lot of mistakes. We learned on our way. We found what works. So BPlan Experts, for example, how the world has changed. We started only doing business plans for Europe and US, Canada, to be specific. As we saw the shift to the East, we started working a lot of Indian companies. And then we also saw the shift towards the African countries. So we can see where the winds of entrepreneurship are flowing. And it was a great experience for us, really.
Because you started working at big companies such as Amex and Infosys, for example. And it seems that you launched your first business in 2008, MBA for all. Then you went into Array Media Graphics and Systems. So sort of like outsourcing type of business, but for designs. Then Crazy About Startups. So after launching all of these startups, what insights have you got from the best of them, and where has been your best product market fit historically?
Right. So let's talk about the failure first. That is very important. I always encourage entrepreneurs to talk about failures because there's a lot of things which can learn from there. So MBA, for example, we had a portal where we wanted people who wanted to do business studies, whether from the platform or from universities, can have a knowledge network where people can talk from, maybe somebody from Harvard can talk to somebody from NUS Singapore, like the entire creating a flat world concept. But when we launched the product, we realized that we had put so many features onto it and that there was no product market fit. In a sense, the WIFM factor, what's in it for me? Why would I join the portal? What will I gain from that? Was a chicken and egg story. And we also got a bit of traction, but it was so confusing for our users because we have literally loaded them with features, and every feature, community activity for every feature was very less. So that learning helped us in Crazy About Startups, which we started bare minimum as a blog, then an automated engine, then a social network. And today we can boast about maybe 16,000 members, entrepreneur members in the platform, with a lot of, I think about 8,000 registered startups, if I can recall the numbers. And that worked for us. But one thing all throughout, we have been very, very cautious about two things: cash flows. One is we needed to pay our expenses because you cannot have negative balances in real life. It only exists in Excels. So you cannot be in a situation where you're out of cash. At the same time, we wanted to have a very strict corporate governance. Just because we are founders, we treated ourselves as employees. So we would also get the salaries. And with this financial discipline, we always focused on profitability rather than user tractions or valuation, the other metrics that people might get into. And we consciously chose innovative freedom over funding fame. We set up a business, we scale it up, we use their profit to set up another business. That's how we diversified. And that gave us the audacity, let's say, like we have the BPlan experts, which is primarily to consulting. We also have Presentation GFX, which works with biggest of the companies making their presentations and visual graphics. And we also have a product called Expressio, or a product called Crazy for Startups. Unrelated products, whatever, it kind of like whatever we feel like doing, we are in a position to fuel that. And not only for us, we also encourage fellow entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, to come with us, and we would help them to grow as well.
Right. And where has been the best product market fit? Like, what have you offered to a specific class of people that have just caught on fire?
Right. And looking back at it, like we used to think it is a very stupid idea. Very stupid idea. BPlan experts used to do business plans, and then automatically we started helping entrepreneurs to pitch to investors, so they wouldn't require a pitch. So we started designing pitches, and we realized that, old formats like bullet points and clip arts and those generic templates were making it presentations extremely boring. So we wanted to create an attractive way of presenting our business plans or our client's business plan to investors. So we started a captive house, in-house presentation design firm, and we kind of mastered it. Coming to the next phase, our clients love it, and they started asking us to make their marketing collaterals, sales collaterals. And then we accidentally come up on the fact that, okay, there's a company we can do is make presentations. And that seemed like a very stupid idea. But today, Presentation GFX caters to more than 1,600 companies, some of the top 50 Fortune 50 companies. And we help them with their global presentations, visual communications. And, graphics design was a very, very, what do you call it? Run-of-the-mill kind of thing, saturated market. Everywhere you go, you'll get a lot of graphics design companies and graphics design firms. So in a saturated market, a very simple, or even if I say it's stupid idea of making presentations for companies where they give us the content and we just design it and give it back, was a perfect fit. And it's exploded. It exploded to that extent that top tech firms globally, top consulting firms, top any industry firms, for example, banking, financial services, rely on us to get their presentations done.
And nowadays, you also fund startups. What startups have you been funding, in what field, and what kind of product market fit are they going after?
Right. So we have been very sporadic and very indisciplined in our funding process at an individual level from the company's board perspective. We obviously got the company involved at a certain stage. I primarily am very excited about new age tech, patented tech, cloud, AI, something can solve a problem. But at the same time, our other partners in the board have different specializations or focus. So last August, when we completed our 15 years of Array, we launched Array Ventures as a kind of a venture builder for companies that are very early stage. So we are operating out of India as of now. We haven't really scaled it up beyond because it's in a pilot stage. We just started it, not been in a year also. So we are identifying about 50 to 60 companies for the next 5 years at a very early stage, where we would help them through our different expertise and capabilities to package them, become fundable, and get them to the Series A of funding. Obviously, we will hold some equity in that. In this case, we have been receiving applications. We have not done an official funding through Array Ventures as of yet, because we are going through due diligence and everything and looking at the right fit for the market. But we are looking at a lot of companies who are into e-commerce, D2C. There's a lot of D2C boom happening in India. And also we are looking at product-based companies. And we are also looking at non-tech-based companies, which is other partners look into. So we are really, really positive about the fact that our expertise, along with the dynamic nature of the entrepreneurs, would create a perfect synergy for making some substantial, impactful startups for the future. But we are playing at a very early stage, really.
And what are examples of startups you founded? What is the average check size that you cut as well?
Okay, for Array Ventures, as I told you, we have not made an official funding as of yet. There's a lot of funding, a lot of process which is having to due diligence. It just happened in August, so we didn't really had a lot of time. But the focus, the kind of companies that I wouldn't be able to tell you the name of the companies because it's in the process. But we are looking at something in the D2C space. Something as also we are looking at a company which is into a marketplace for a niche product, e-commerce. These are some of the pitches, which is, I would say, is on the top highlights. The token amount, what we've decided is anywhere between 30 to 50 lakhs INR. That would be around maybe, let's see, in USD, it will be probably around, yeah, so it's a 40, 80 divisible. So maybe somewhere around 25,000 is the 10 to 25,000 is something we would be looking at. It will be a combination of funding, pure funding through marketing approaches, and as well as services that we're going to give them, kind of a combination of that. And we are looking at somewhere around 15 to 25% equity at a very early stage. But all of these numbers are pretty much negotiable based on the valuation, the company, the stage, and definitely the overall business idea.
Is it Indian startups only? And what do you see in the Indian landscape in terms of trends, in terms of growth this year?
Okay, so yeah, we are starting this pilot thing through India, although we have clients and relationship across several countries. But given that we are based in India, so it's our home ground, and we have a basic network done here with the VCs, with the angel networks, with the different multiple players who can help these companies to go to the next level, whether it's legal or compliance. India had been going through a funding crunch, especially at the later stage of the funding for the last 2 years. We are calling it the funding winter. But over the period, I was recently published an article on that. Some of the sectors which I see is really, really doing good and going to do good is Fintech. Absolutely, yes. D2C, absolutely. Again, it's a very high risk game, given the fact that 1 out of 10 players might be doing it big and get the market, the eyeball share. We are also looking at the applied AI space, especially in regionalization of Indian landscape, especially things with NLPs, things with voice. So we are looking at not just generative, we are looking at application of the AI to solve problems which can be automated or solved easily. So we're looking at, those are my personal picks.
Interesting. So what would be your top goals this year? What are you aiming for?
Okay, so a couple of things. We want to launch 3 products this year. We have already started working on the Express AI product, which is primarily going to be for B2B primarily, which would an automated AI engine, which will help organizations to design their presentations easily. We're going to launch the POC version at least end of this year. We plan to launch Crazy About Startup version 2.0 early next quarter, which would actually have entire ecosystem built for entrepreneurs and startups in here. Again, we're going to do a lot of focus on India, but we will have an international arm as well. And obviously, we are working on products like Alumnix and Expressio. Those are the things which will come on. Can't really tell you the time, but we are on the process of launching one of them very soon. So apart from this, we are also focusing on funding at least 10 to 12 companies in the next one financial year through Array Ventures, and absolutely overall create a benchmarking growth rate across the other ventures, which are kind of profitable.
Nice. For this year, I'm curious to see also, like in the AI ecosystem in India, are we seeing any development there? Because we've seen some good action, for example, in spaces like Paris, France, with the AI scene. Silicon Valley has always been on the scene, but what do you see in India? Any proprietary LLMs being developed there, or the AI scene, is it booming? What are you seeing?
Well, let me tell you the AI scene in India. I personally divide into three parts of it. There are companies which are focused on learning, and that would require a lot of supervised learning. So there's a lot of manpower required. So that's kind of going to be a temporary resource hike for the next few years for places like India, similar to the BP or the KPO boom that was there. And this is temporary because I'm sure very soon machines will be able to learn themselves, and the importance of supervised learning will reduce. So there are companies which are purely into services, outsourcing of learning services, supervised learning, input, output, kind of thing. That's the bottom of the pyramid in terms of the innovation scale. But there's a lot of business happening out here. A lot of companies are starting out there. The next step, what I call, is the application stage, where you have an API automatically available. Maybe use a GPT API to make something which is usable for a particular niche. In those cases, there's a lots of startups here, whether it's image recognition for food, health, whether it's voice, text. There's a lot of application-based startups which is happening. And especially in a reporting based and everything, a lot of these startups are flourishing. What do I see as a future of the startups? Absolutely, given the fact that AI is going to improve very fast. So until unless there is a hybrid system or a knowledge base proprietary to these people, they would eventually perish, but they will make a lot of, let's say, a lot of impact financially for themselves in the shorter run. Then comes the innovative AI, which are platform builders. You're talking about LLMs, or you're talking about near technology and everything. Well, there is some work which is happening. I wouldn't say there's no work which is happening, but in terms of startups, some of them are funded as well, doing great work as well. But I do not see a huge movement out there from a mass scale perspective, given the fact that the infrastructure, the knowledge, and the capability that is required, the resources that is required to do something requires a lot of funding. So it can be only taken up by large houses or with a huge funding, or maybe startups which are looking at an AI version of their products are funding into that. So yeah, I wouldn't say that, for research and development based products, India is still nascent in terms of funding is concerned.
Right. Where can people find out more about you, Arnab?
Well, I have a blog, arnab.co. Arnab Ray, ARNAB, ARRAY is my handle across the social media. I am very irregular on YouTube, so I kind of talk about the technical aspects of businesses to help entrepreneurs on a YouTube channel, so they can find me there. But I'm very active on my blog, arnab.co.